Hello there, it's a wet and windy Sunday afternoon, and last week I received this parcel. All I've done is taken the address label off. It's from SmartShow, and so that's why it's a bit raggedy. All I've done is, as I say, I've taken the address label off. So you'll know what it is because you've seen the picture, but let's open it and have a look inside, shall we? Okay, so we've got some bubble wrap, so let's get rid of that box. Let's get rid of that. So this is the SmartShow NetDMX-PoE. PoE being the important thing, power over Ethernet. So let's open this up and have a look inside. Put that back up there out of the way. Right, okay, so inside the box we have an instruction sheet. Tells us how to connect it to a laptop, gives us the pin out connections. We'll come over, we'll talk about that later on because it is quite important, and it shows us a picture of the fascia plate with the connections and LEDs on there, so we'll have a look at that a little later on. We have a USB cable in the box. We have a mounting plate. I guess this is so you can connect it to different types of racking. And this is the main event. So let's have a look at this. Okay, let's put all that back in there for the time being. And then we'll come back to that later on. Right, so this is the SmartShow. Let me just zoom in a bit so you can have a look. There we go. This is the SmartShow NetDMX-PoE Ethernet DMX bridge. So what this will do is it will accept Ethernet, DMX, Artnet over here, over the network, and it will output DMX on the 5-pin DMX socket there. But it will do a lot more, and we was demoing this or demonstrating this at the ABTT show. I'll put a link down there somewhere as to the show we did, but the one we did at the show wasn't a production one. This is pre-retail release. My serial number is number 2. I think there's about 10 of these gone out for review and testing, so I've got number 2. So let's have a closer look at the end here. Let me zoom in a bit for you. Okay, so then just need something to point with. Here we go, this soldering iron end will do. So we've got xLight and link light on this is a standard Cat5 or Ethernet connection. We've got a mode light there, we've got PoE light there, we've got a reset button there, and we've got USB-C just there. On here we've got designed and assembled in the UK by SmartShow, QR code. Here we've got the serial number. We can write the device IP if we need to. When these go out, they'll be set up as DHCP, so it'll just connect to your network, and that's basically it. What's the size of it, I hear you say? Well, I'll put the sizes on the screen down below there for you so you can have a look at that. I think the first thing we need to do actually is connect this up to some power and have a look at the lights. So where's that? Because something doesn't look right to me. Yes, okay. I think it's put the wrong cable in. That's a USB-B, isn't it called? USB-A, and that's USB-C. So just let me get hold of SmartShow and see if they put the wrong cable in the box.
A few moments later.
Yes, a bit of a boo-boo on their part. I can say these are pre-retail. He will make sure that the correct USB cable is sent out in the future. In the meantime, I'll nick the one that my phone's been on charge with. This is USB-C, so let's plug it in and see what lights come on. I'm going to turn the desk lights off. There we go, so we can have a clearer look at it. We turn the, there we go, I'll just turn off the LED pattern that runs in the background. So as you can see, the USB, not the USB, the mode light is flashing. I'm going to reset that so you can see it again. Okay, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, so that's 192.1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 6. So I'm going to guess this is 192.168. Yep. Dot 1. Dot 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a 0. So 10 is a 0. So I'm going to guess this is 192.168.1.200. Yep, it is. So that's what the IP number is set for at the moment, but I believe that when these go out, they will be set up for DHCP, which will get the IP number automatically. The PoE light isn't lit because I've not got a PoE switch. I'm going to see if I can borrow one from the office, and we can have a look at that. So that's it. There's no other lights or anything, no LEDs or anything like that on there. So what I think the next thing to do is to plug in a network cable like so. We have a link, so the link light is on, and because I'm plugged into a switch, we have the activity light is on. The PoE light is not on, although it's kind of coloured, it's just taken an image from there. The PoE light is not on. And that's it. So that's the lights that are on that. Let me just turn the desk lights back on again. So watch your eyes. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and the desk lights are back on again. Right, okay, I think the next thing we need to do then is to go to our screen, our PC, and see what interface is on this as well. So oh, I was going to, yes, I've done the sizes. Right, I think that's about it I need from there at the moment. Yeah, so let's go to the screen and then we'll have a look at the interface on this. Okay, so we're on the PC now, so let's go to the IP 192.168.1.200. And this is the interface that you'll see. So let's go through it one by one. First of all, we can change the name at the top here. If we want to call it something else, we can do like that. Type in something like that. If we wanted to do that, we can set it for static or DHCP, which is automatic IP. And we can also set the subnet mask. So the common types are here. I normally use the 255.255.255.0 because it opens up the whole network. If you're using a gateway like a router or router, then you can set the gateway IP there. The MAC address is fixed on the actual network interface itself, so there's nothing you can do there. Going down, we can have DMX modes. If you want this straight DMX 512, then you can set it just there. Now this is the beauty of this controller, which other controllers don't have. You can actually use it as a 4-universe pixel output as well, and that will put it on pin number 4. We'll have a look at this later on, and it'll give you no power on pin number 5, and the reason for that is if you want a 1-universe pixel, you can power it on pin number 5 on the XLR if you're using PoE and USB as well. So what you can do that if you're going to use USB, say it's in a in some clothing or something like that, and you're using a USB pack, or if it's in the racking, or it's on a stage, or if it's on a theatre, and you're using PoE, power over Ethernet, then you can use you can output to one universe using pixels, and you can power it from this device as well. And again, later on we'll be showing you, or I'll be showing you, how to do that. You don't get that in other ones. This is an extra that you're going to get with this, all for the same price. DMX is the standard 512 that you get to with other ones as well, with other controllers. You can also set the protocol for your pixels. It's either Artnet or sACN, which is on those options there. And you can set your start universe there as well, whether it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. If you're using xLights, then you'll need to set that to number 1, because xLights always start on universe 1 or anything above that. So you don't forget to set that if you're going to be using xLights. Down here you can set the pixel type, either UCS or WS. I tend to use a WS, which is like the 2812s or 2811s. And then you can set the RGB or RGBW. If you use the RGB plus W, then the controller will interpret the white for you onto your RGB and RGBW LEDs. Pixel grouping, if you want to use pixel grouping, and the universe size there if you want to change the size of the universe as well. All that is very straightforward and simple. If you make any changes to that, you will have to do a reboot on the device, which we will do in a minute. But there is something extra that you get with this controller that you don't get on other ones. The user guide is built in, so if you want to just double check anything, you can do it without looking for bits of paper or PDFs or going to websites or anything like that. And for someone who's colorblind like me, having an option to do dark page or large script is also handy as well, because sometimes people who make controllers don't usually think about people who are colorblind, but it's really surprising how many people who are in the lighting industry, both for hobbies and professional, are actually colorblind. So having dark mode and large text is an absolute bargain for me, and that really does help. So you have the instruction here. You can go to the register site, the warranty as well, or you can email. We've got the product overview here. Briefly explains about the actual product. Specifications here if you're interested in that. We can do we can show what's in the parts supplied. That's what's in the box. A quick list there of the LEDs. They're the common types of LEDs that you can connect it to. This is the 5 pins on the DMX out. We'll look at that in greater depth a little later on. But if you're going to use 3-pin DMX, you'll need a little converter. This will show you, tell you about the Ethernet settings as well, and making sure that it's going to get DHCP or static IP. This is what we've shown you earlier on. This is the flashing light to make sure that you know what the IP number is. It gives you some more information there about the other indicators. This is the web browser information, but you can see that because that's what we're in at the moment. Other protocols, pixel types, colors, universe sizes, the whole lot. I mean, you don't get that in any other controller, because this is all built in. And if there's any updates in the future, then the user guide will also be updated as well. So that's it. That is the overview of the GUI, or the graphic user interface. We're going to connect this now to a DMX Light, so I need to change this into DMX mode, and we'll apply that. and it tells you that you need to press reboot for the change to take effect. So let's do a quick reboot on that now. And the device is rebooting, so let's connect. And as you can see, the actual interface has reduced because we've gone from a pixel output to a DMX output. And if we change that back to the pixel output, then the options here will also change. We've left that at DMX Universe 1 because we're going to go into xLights in a minute, and we're going to show you how to connect this and test to make sure that everything's working. So that's it. That's the GUI interface. So I think the next thing we need to do is to connect it to a light. Right, we're back on the bench and I've got my light here ready to be plugged in. But I just wanted to quickly show you what I was talking about regarding the end of the connection here. So this is a 5-pin DMX, which is a more of a professional type. There's a lot of arguments whether the 3 or 5 you got to use. A lot of people will know the 3 type because a lot of the stuff that you can buy on eBay and Amazon has the 3 type of plug in it. So if you are going to use 3 type with this controller, then you'll need a simple cable like this. I've got this for a few quid off Amazon, and all we do is plug that in and it will convert the 5 to the 3. Now I have to use that myself because the light that I've got here is a 3-pin DMX, as you can see. So let's plug this one in to here and we'll spin that round so we can see what we're doing. Right, okay, just going to turn the light off a little bit. So I'm going to switch this on now, and you'll see that we are in DMX mode and we're on channel number 1. So we're ready to receive. That's DMX channel 1, not Universe 1. Come back to Universes in a minute. So let's leave that there. Look, the controller is hanging on there. Okay, so let's go back to the PC. Let's launch xLights and connect to this and get some lights coming out on there. Okay, so we're now in xLights. So what we need to do first of all is add our controller in. So we'll go to Add Ethernet, and can I make that a little bit bigger for you? No, I can't. Okay, 192.168.1.200, which is our controller, and it starts on Universe 1. Remember earlier on when I said that you have to set it for Universe 1 for xLights? That's why, because it doesn't start at Universe 0 in xLights, it's always 1 or above that. Protocol, we'll change that to Artnet. I know we're going to be doing DMX, but don't worry, I'll explain why we do that in a minute. So let's now just double check that we can connect to the controller. We can press open and it will open up a page and it will go to the controller. So we know that xLights is set right. It can see the controller. So we'll save that. We'll go to layout and then we'll just drop a general DMX box on there like that. The controller, what we'll do is, oh, I haven't changed the name, sorry about that. Let's go back over here. There we go, we've given it a name now. Let's save that. Okay, and the controller is the SmartShow NetDMX. But I've just noticed that this start channel is 511. We need to set that. Remember, our light is set on channel 1, so we need to change that. How is it going to let me change that? Let's do no controller. No. There we go. That's what I want. and we're going to go for universe number 1, and we're going to start on channel number 1. So that's that set. Let's save that. Okay, that's good. The actual light is, you can set DMX lights for different number of channels. The default on this is 8. I think the channels actually on my light is 7, but that's fine. That's okay. Right, so let's save that and go to sequencer, and we'll go to a new sequence. It's just a quick animation we're going to do, and it adds the light in for us. Right, so let's drop a DMX onto there like so. Right, so what we need to do now is switch the output on by flicking that light or a light bulb at the top, and hopefully we should start seeing some output on the lights itself. Right, okay, so we do have output, but it's a strobe, I think. Right, so that's the main master. So the channel 2 is a strobe, so we've got red on there, so that'll be green on that one, blue on that one, and then have we got white? Yeah, we've got white on that one. So there we go, that's working okay. So we've got R, G, R, G, B, W. Okay, so that's working okay. So we know we can now have this in xLights. It's now connected to DMX, and the controller's working, the light's working, and xLights is working, which is more important. Okay, so that's working the controller to a standard DMX light. Next thing we need to do is to connect it to some pixels. One thing we need to do before we can connect this to some pixels is make up a cable. So I have here a male and female 5-pin XLR pair plug and socket. So what we need to do is, first of all, I want to make sure that that fits okay, which it does. And we need to make this up so we can take the pixel data out as well as the ground out, so we can go to some LEDs. We don't want to take the DMX out of this. We want to make sure that this is set up for Artnet in the config, which we'll do in a moment. And we need to know which pin is the Artnet or the pixel data coming out of. So number 1, which is up the top right hand corner here, let me just zoom in a bit so you can see that. Hopefully you can see that if it decides to focus. There we go. Oh. Right, okay, you have to take my word for it. So number 1 is the top right hand corner here. That's the ground. Number 2 is a DMX minus, number 3 is DMX plus, number 4, which is the one that we're interested in, is the pixel output, and number 5, which we'll look at later on, is the 5-volt output as well. Now at the moment, don't forget we're not using PoE because the PoE light is off. We're just using the USB at the moment. So let's just forget about the 5 volts coming from pin 5 at the moment, and let's just concentrate on using this as a pixel output. Right, I happen to have here, this is what I use for testing. This is just a bit of cardboard. It's actually a Weetabix with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's 170 LEDs with a bit of something stuck to it. And it's just a one universe matrix that I can use for testing. So we'll have a look at that and get that connected up and there's a cable just hanging out there. We can use that for our testing purposes. Now, what we're going to do first of all, we'll do, although the setup for this will do 4 universes, purely for testing at the moment, we'll do it for 1 universe, because what we'll then do is connect the power to it as well, and then we can show you it using 1 universe with power. After we've done that, we'll go back and set this up for 4 universes, but that obviously has more LEDs on the desk. So while we've got this little unit here, we'll use this for testing only. Okay, you got that? Good. Right, so let's set this up. So we need, first of all, to get this out, like so. And we need to make, get some cable and make this up. So pin 1, which is over this side. Don't forget that when we're doing this, it's in reverse. So as you're looking at the male on this one, pin 1 is on the left. When we solder it, pin 1 is on the right, because obviously it's back to front. And that lines up nicely with that as well. So that goes into there like that. So Michael, stop waffling. Let's get some cable, get the soldering iron on and make a cable up. First of all, we're still in DMX mode, so let's change that to 4U. So I know we've only got 1 universe, but we'll come back to that later. But just for testing purposes, we're going to use XLR4, which is the signal out. So we need to change it from DMX to 4U. So we'll just apply that, and we need to reboot. So that's going to reboot in the background. What we also need to do is set up Jinx as well. So in matrix options of Jinx, we've got 17 rows. Sorry, got 10 rows by 17 LEDs. So that gives us 170 LEDs in total. So that's that done. We need to set up the device. So if I just edit this and show you. So all I've got there is the IP number just there, the universe number just there. And what we also need to do is change the channels, because if we do 117 times 10 is 170, as we know, times 3, because it's RGB, is 510. So that's 510 channels. So we just need to change that to 510 and press OK. So that's that done. And what we also need to do is the output patching. And what we can do for patching, we can select the device. There's only 1 device on the network here at the moment. We know it's 17 by 10, and we know because I made that little test matrix, it's snake line starting from top left, RGB, and the first channel is 0, and we've only got 1 device, so we can say yes, and then that's just patched the matrix for us. So that's ready to start output as well in a minute. So that's those 2 done. So we just need to go back to the bench now and just finish off the cabling. So we're back on the bench. There's our matrix, there's our controller, there's our little male 5-pin XLR. The only other cable I've added is this one here, which is simply connected to the ground, and only because when I tried to use the clip to clip onto that, it was a bit too close to the pin, so I thought I'd just add another cable on there as well, just to make sure. So that cable there is a +5, which I've taped out the way, and this one here is the ground as well. Don't forget, when you're dealing with LEDs and separate power supplies, everything like that, the grounds have to be all connected together. So let's plug that in. Bit Heath Robinson, I know, but it's going to work all right. I'm sure of it. This, by the way, is connected to my bench power supply, which is set for 5 volts at the moment. So we'll plug that onto there, so that's our ground on there, and I'm just going to lay my snippers on there just to keep it out of the way. We can put our 5 volt onto there. This, by the way, the actual controller is still powered up here by the USB-C. Okay, so just to remind you what's happening with this, because I know it can look very complicated. I'm just making sure that's not going to short out anywhere, so that's what's holding it there. Right, okay. So we've got the bench power supply, which is going to power supply to the LEDs. We've got the USB cable, which is powering the NetDMX. We're not using PoE. We're just going to use this as a straight one universe LEDs coming out. So let's turn that on. Nothing at the moment. What we need to do is switch the output on via Jinx. So let me do that now. And there we go, we have output. So that's taken the output from Jinx onto the one universe matrix via that, and that's Artnet. Okay, next thing we can do is to look at powering this and powering this without using an external power supply. Right, what we need to do with this is to connect the 5 volt, which is going to go to our LEDs, to pin 5 on the DMX plug here, on the 5-pin plug. So let's just add a little bit of solder onto there. He says, like so. Oh, tell you what I haven't done. I haven't put a bit of flux on there, so let's put a bit of flux on there. That might help. Oop, there we go. Okay, here we go. Let's try that again, shall we? Got it. Right, okay, so we've put our 5 volt feed onto pin 5. So what the NetDMX will do now is it will take the 5 volts from the network or from USB-C. And what I'll do now is I'll just quickly take off this extra ground because we don't need that anymore. There we go. So on here now we've got the 5 volts, we've got the ground, and we've got the signal cable all coming off the 5-pin plug, which is, sorry, I had a brain fade there. The 5-pin plug coming out of the NetDMX. So we need to make a little change to the config of this. So let's jump over to the computer and have a look at that. Right, we're back on the PC, and all we need to do now is just change this to 1U. Now I know before it was said 4U, 4 universe was only using 1. That was for testing. We will look at a 4 universe setup later on. So the 4 universe gives no power on XLR5. The 1 universe will give 5 volt on XLR5. So that's why we've connected the 5 volt cable to pin 5. So let's apply that, and of course we need to do a reboot as well. So let's just reboot the device, and then we can go back into Jinx, and hopefully if everything has been equal, we shall be able to power the matrix separately, and I'll explain the 2 different ways in a moment. Okay, back on the bench, and as you can see we've got no power coming from the bench power supply, so let's just push that to one side. All we have on this is the network cable plugged in and the USB cable plugged in, and just for reference, if you're interested, I've got it plugged in to a socket here, look, with a USB cable, USB socket coming from the plug there, so that's where it's coming from. Okay. So this is only taking power now from USB-C, and the LEDs are going to take power from pin number 5 on the controller. So let's switch on Jinx, just the same as before, and there we go, we have output from Jinx to the LEDs there. So that's also working, and that is powering the one universe from the USB going through the NetDMX. Now, there's something very important that I must point out to you. In here is an internal fuse, and it will blow if it pulls too many amps. I will get some more details about that, and I'll put them to the bottom of the screen, or I'll add them in later on, because I am interested in that fuse, see if it resets or not. So I will get some more information about that. But I've turned down the main output on Jinx just to, well, for 2 reasons. One is because I don't want to blow that fuse, and 2, it comes better out on camera. But as you can see, that is quite bright. Let me turn the bench lights off. So there you go, that is normal with the bench lights off. Bench lights on, there we go with that. So it is still quite bright, and there's no heat coming from this whatsoever. So this is not getting warm, this is still cold. So that's how we can power one universe. Now think about it, if you're using this in a costume or something like that, and you've got one universe dotted throughout the costume, and you can power that through this and through the network cable. Yeah, I know you'll be tied down with a network cable, but if you're on stage or screen or something like that, you can easily hide these. That is fantastic that you can power it through there. But as a Brucer bonus, as he says, that's not all, because you can power it a different way. Let's have a look at that. Okay, as you can see, I'm on wobbly cam at the moment. So let me explain what this is. This is what's called a network switch. This is the sort of thing you get in cabinets, networking in offices, and commercial buildings, that sort of stuff. And what this does, all your network points in a computer, so think of an office with like 20 computers in it, all of those connect to here, which then connect onto the servers, connect onto the internet, etc. Now this one is a little bit special because of the network points underneath here, so row number 2. Oh, before I go any further, I've got to say a big thank you to Vixsoft in Grimsby for lending me this so I can make this video, because I don't have one of these special switches at home. It's special, like I said, because of this row at the bottom, which is PoE, or Power over Ethernet. So what this can do is it can output power to the network cable, so it can carry both the signal for the computer and power as well. And that's what a lot of these IP phones or desk phones are powered by. They'll have a cable that comes from here, goes into the phone, so the data for the phone goes into there, and it'll have what's called pass-through with another cable coming out, going to your computer. Okay, that's a very brief explanation about PoE switches and what a switch does. If you're into networking and you know you're networking, you know what these are. So how have I got this wired up? Well, this is the wire that we normally connected to our controller, which is up here. So all I've done is I've plugged that into this port here on the switch, and I've plugged our controller into one of these PoE switches down here as well. So let's have a look at the controller. So this is the controller, and the difference now is we've got an additional light on. So I'm trying to do this one-handed. Just a minute, let me put it back on the holder. Right, it's back on the holder, so I've now got 2 hands. You need hands? No, I won't sing, you're all right. Right, let me switch that off temporarily. Okay, so now we have this light here, which is the PoE light. Can I zoom in? Yes, you can see that. So the PoE light is now lit. If you remember before, that was off. The mode light was on because we're going to send Ethernet, we're going to send Artnet to it. We're not going to reset it, obviously. And we've got a link light and an actor light because it's connected to the switch. So the PoE light is powering the controller. And what we can do now, sorry, I'm just trying to, I've got more wires than anything else. Watch your eyes because I'm going to switch on Jinx. And there we go. And what it's doing now is it's taking the power from the switch. The switch is powering the NetDMX and it's powering the LEDs at the same time. There's no USB plugged in, there's no other power plugged in. The desk connection is still disconnected, and this is the cable that we was using for USB. So they're completely disconnected and it is only taking the power from the network switch. So there you go, that is how you can connect the NetDMX Pro to do Artnet output to a one universe powered by either USB as well as through PoE or power over Ethernet. So that makes this controller very, very flexible. Just think about it. You can have this as your standard DMX, which will control lights like you would normally do. Or you can have it as a one universe or four universe Artnet, all controlled by a flick of a switch on that. So that is quite incredible, and you will not get that in any other small compact DMX controllers. Right, what I need to do now, I'm going to pause the video slightly, clear the desk, and we're going to set it up for a 4-universe matrix. Obviously the 4-universe matrix will not be powered from this, it will only power one universe, but I'll show you 4 universes working.
Many hours later.
Right, it's a couple of days later, so just to let you know what I've got set up on the bench here. We've got 4 panels, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the WS2812 LEDs, which is one here. These are SmartShow. Ignore that one in the corner that's missing. That's because some dipstick who will remain nameless, me, decided to put 12 volt through a 5 volt panel, and I blew the first one. So that's my fault. Anyway, but look, that's what these are. These are the panels that go on there. You can buy these on eBay or direct through SmartShow. I think they're about 20-25 quid each, something like that. I'll put a price down there. And these are 13 by 13, and that is a 1 universe panel. Comes with all instructions on the back. You can wire it here. As you can see, these are keyed. I did do a video about this, by the way, so I'll put a link down there for the video, but these are keyed, so it keeps the spacing between all the LEDs the same, therefore you cannot see a join. Anyway, so I've got that connected up. I've got power and signal going in here. So these are column snake wires, which will go blah, 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 blah. And also at this end, I've got power going in as well. So I'm power injecting from this end, power going that way, power going that way, signal going from left to right. So there you go. There's our controller. I'm going to power the controller from the USB, but I'm going to power the lights from my bench power supply here. Okay, so that's the only difference there. I've taken the pin number 5 off there, so there's no power coming off the plug at the back there. So power to that from the USB just to power that up. Networking as per usual. I've got my croc clips here, which is from my bench power supply powering the LEDs. And the other thing coming from this is the ground, because don't forget, when you have 2 different power supplies, you've got to make sure that the grounds are connected. And I've got the 5 volt as well going to this. Okay, got that? It's great. We need to make a little change on the on Jinx for this, so let's jump over to the PC and get that done now. Right, we're back on the bench, and all we have to do is, don't forget we just had it as a 1U because we was using the 5 volt power from PoE last time. So all we've got to do is flick that to 4 universe. no power coming out of XLR5. We'll apply that. It will do a reboot like that, and that's simply just changed to a 4 universe output now on pin number 4 on XLR. Right, okay, this is Artnet, by the way, not DMX. So let's jump back to the table now, and then we can have a look at the LED panels. Right, and there we go. That is outputting from Jinx now, and we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 panels there working. So that's a 4 universe coming from this little controller here, and that's it. That's everything that the controller can do. I really hope that you've enjoyed this review of the SmartShow NetDMX-PoE. Don't forget, power over Ethernet or power from USB-C if you're going to do 1 universe. You can do DMX, which is your normal 512 channels, and you can do 4 universe Artnet as well, all controlled by that little box. That's great. That's everything done. Oh, by the way, if you want to buy one of these controllers, price and web link is down there somewhere. It's also in the description. If you like what I do, please, as the LEDs are informing you, please subscribe to Mike's LED Shed. It just helps with the algorithms and stuff like that. Also, I'm afraid all this talking is making me dry. More importantly, my coffee cup is empty. So if you want to buy me coffee, there's a link down there as well. Thanks very much for watching. There'll be another video coming up shortly of another LED controller. In fact, just stay there a moment. I'll go and grab it. Right, I found it. It is here. So this is another DMX controller, a 1 universe DMX controller that I bought off Amazon. This is, just put some light on it for you. Electro Concept is the company. It's French. I've not opened it yet, although the case is battered. It's still got a bit of tape in it, so I'll do a review of this, and then what I'll do is I'll compare the two, because these two are going to be, I'm going to guess, roughly the same size. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you very much. Say, if you like what I do, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.